Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about new ports that we could be getting for Shin Megami Tensei, Persona games, really just anything from Atlus in general. So new articles came out releasing an interview where they had Group President COO Haruki Satomi and having Executive Vice President and Group CFO Koichi Fukuzawa. They all were together here and they had a Q&A regarding recent sales of Persona 4 Golden, why its success was a thing, and what does that mean for future games. How is SEGA going to be pushing Atlus to put these games onto other things? And a lot of this has to do with SEGA's influence with them recently being bought within the most recent couple of years. A lot of this has to do with Sega's influence on how they're going to be releasing these games and where they're going to be putting them. But let's go on down and let's get into this little Q&A here. So they asked them just one question, but in the actual interview they had a lot more, but we just have this snippet here, which I find to be the most important thing that we have of this recent news that we have gotten from the group president and the executive vice president, CFO, and the COO. These are the dudes way at the top here, but let's just jump into what sort of happened here. So the question was, Persona 4 Golden has been selling well on Steam, but do you have any plans on selling newly released games on Steam as well? But with their answer, they kind of answer a couple different questions that really the whole community has been wanting to know as well. Remastered Persona 4 Golden, a title previously sold on the PlayStation Vita, and it released for sale on Steam this fiscal year. Because of the game's critical acclaim and its low selling price, sales are much stronger than expected. We will continue to actively promote porting previously released titles on Steam and new platforms. We are also negotiating with platform holders of new games in the future. Keep that in mind, and we're always considering ways to sell under favorable conditions for each title. Among them are measures such as preparing PC versions of the titles from the beginning with multi-platform releases in mind. So not only were they like, yes, we will bring out older games and port them to new stuff like they did for Persona 4 Golden, and they're doing for Shin Megami 3 Nocturne. They're bringing that to Nintendo Switch and PS4, but there are even talks about potentially having newer games simultaneously released on PC as well, not having to be ported a couple of years later, or in Persona 4 Golden's case, a long time later. Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, I wondered kind of why it wasn't on PC, but it seems that they're just trying to talk to certain consoles and things like that first, and then maybe we'll see the PC things released later. Just from how we can see Atlus and Sega and just everything that's kind of going on, they really are trying to test the waters in just about everything here. That's why I thought it was sort of weird how Shin Megami Tensei 3 wasn't also being released on PC. I mean, they put Persona 4 Golden on there, and Nocturne wasn't too far off from whenever that was released. They released on the same console and everything, so I thought, why wouldn't it be on PC? Well, this is more than likely them trying to test the waters. You notice how Nocturne is releasing on Nintendo Switch and PS4. It's not exclusive to the Switch like SMT 5 is. Maybe they are trying to test, will people buy an older SMT game for the current generation of consoles? And then, releasing it on Nintendo Switch because they probably have some sort of exclusivity where they have to release it on Switch. But it's kind of curious to think about this. It looks like they might be still trying to test the waters with things, but just from how Persona 4 Golden released and had over 500,000 players as of July 10th, we're well past that at this point. I mean, it's August 10th, for Christ's sakes. So they know the success of what they can do for porting these games. I just think they're trying to test where exactly porting them or bringing them will, what that will do. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing some of these ports all just releasing on everything all at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised from that. Whether or not we get physical editions, I'm not too sure. They're not releasing physical editions, it doesn't seem. We don't fully even know if Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne will have a physical actual Nintendo Switch cartridge or PS4 disc. There's a good chance that a lot of times they're just not going to be that way. Whenever I went and got Catherine Full Body, they didn't have a lot of discs. You, for the most part, had to get it online. I was lucky enough to get to my GameStop fast enough where they only had 4 copies of the game on release. So yeah, that was probably their big stock for it, and they only had 4 copies. And I was lucky enough to get it. It was a steelbook, but overall, pretty damn nice that I ended up getting that, but I digress. Let's go past that. SEGA commented that the following satisfactory results of Catherine Classic on Steam, Atlus had the information they would use to evaluate their own roadmap for future PC development. So there is future PC development. A lot of that has to do with that Catherine Classic. So because of Catherine Classic, we more than likely ended up getting like Persona 4 Golden on PC as well. And for the success of Persona 4 Golden, I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up seeing lots more of that. They are basically sitting here telling us, yes, we're considering more stuff for PC. We're considering multi-platform releases with PC included. And for future games, they're more than likely going to be releasing them on PC multi-platform as well, which is honestly really, really cool. It's a good thing to keep this here in mind. Among the measures such as preparing PC versions of titles from the beginning, they might actually be thinking of how to build the games from the start with the PC in mind. So instead of building a game and then having to port it later, they might just be developing the game currently and be thinking about how we could sort of tweak this game just a little bit to where it would actually from the beginning be very easily ported to PC, or have a PC version easily made because of preparing and taking the measures necessary from the beginning to release it on PC. We do know that they have their own creators page, like they say down here. Atlus has their creator page on Steam. We know that they have their own page on Steam and a place that they can put it now, which is good, and that's established. I mean, thank God they have that, so they don't have to go through so many steps to probably get the game put on Steam, which is really, really nice. And they can easily make these games and just put them up on Steam because they have their own creator page. There's a good place to find it there for PC. Thank God it's on Steam and not something crazy. But yeah, they have an easy access way of getting their games easily put to Steam now, and they're keeping that in mind while they're creating these new games and they're creating these ports of doing this kind of stuff. I would like to see Shin Megami Tensei release on PC, but I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be a thing. There seems to be a lot of, Nintendo exclusivity locked in for these games. Nocturne here sort of has a sort of wild card, I guess you could say, with just because it released on PlayStation a long time ago as well. We've been seeing in more recent years a lot of Nintendo, exclusivity with SMT, with, SMT4 and whatnot, but we have already seen some of these older games released on PlayStation. Is that why Nocturne is releasing on Nintendo Switch and PS4? If we got some of the older SMT games, would they do a multi-release on both as well, but maybe not PC because they're sort of locked in? I wonder if there's a lot of exclusivity stuff going on. I mean, there has to be, right? I mean, none of the stuff is even touching Xbox, for Christ's sakes, and I know I don't want to bring that up, but I do like having everybody be able to experience games, and obviously I think in sort of Sega and Atlus's, own right, they get to choose whether or not they want to do that. If someone buys them out for exclusivity, that's more money for them to make games and pay their employees and whatnot. So we have to keep that in mind. Will they get more sales if they release them everywhere? Right now, I think they might actually do pretty well doing that. I think only the Persona series is something they don't have locked in stone, seeing as how Persona 4 Golden basically just, they probably could release that honestly just about anywhere. So from what we can tell, we're going to get a lot of SMT games on Switch for now, and then we might potentially see more things released on Steam that is Persona, or just any other random Atlus title like Catherine. So yeah, what's for the future to see? What might we see here in the future? I think we're going to see things like Persona 3 release on Steam. I think something like that's going to happen. They talked about it potentially being a actual better version of the game, like we have Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5 Royal. It could be like Persona 3 Golden or whatever. It'd probably be its own name. I think we'll see something like that on Steam before we see anything else. We already have Catherine on there. Maybe Catherine Full Body will pop up on there. Catherine Full Body is on Switch, so really Catherine's kind of just everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if Full Body just all of a sudden came out on Switch, or came out on Steam, I mean. But Persona 3, I think, is what we'll probably see next on Steam, and then I'm not really too sure. More SMT games, more SMT ports potentially happening for PlayStation and happening for Switch. Maybe after Nocturne has come out, we're going to be getting SMT 5, but we might end up seeing some smaller SMT games also get pushed out as well. I mean, Persona 4 Golden, when it came out on Steam, literally just released like a week or two after it was announced, or it was just sort of leaked in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we randomly see some of this stuff just jump up out of nowhere at us, guys, because it seems to be that that's sort of what they're kind of rolling with here. They ended up doing trailers for SMT Nocturne, and that's pretty nice. So maybe they are trying to acknowledge more of these ports and stuff like that. But that was also, you know, Persona 4 just releasing on Steam. This was SMT3 Nocturne releasing on Switch and PS4. Maybe they feel like they need to actually make a trailer if it's for the Switch and for the PS4. I really don't know, guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Like this video if you think this was a good video. I'd appreciate any of the help, guys. Sorry I could not upload recently. I had a sort of like power outage sort of thing kind of deal going on around here. I didn't have internet for 2 days, so I wasn't able to upload anything. I wasn't even able to get news for you guys, so I wasn't able to really do a whole lot. Plus, I had been a little bit under the weather, so hopefully I will not have this long of a stretch without uploading a video for another long time. Hopefully I do not like trying to do that. I don't like that happening because it makes me feel like I'm getting behind, and I don't like doing that. Luckily, this bit of news article didn't come out, but it came out just a couple days ago, so we sort of got lucky with that. And this thing didn't really surface up till just recently, so yeah, sort of strange how this randomly just all of a sudden just popped up out of nowhere and people were going crazy for it. Maybe because it's the lack of news. I don't know. We're getting some SMT3 Nocturne videos, which are going to release tomorrow. Supposedly we're actually getting a trailer tomorrow, so I will more than likely cover that. So subscribe if you want to talk about that. Go into deep analysis with that. I'll have a video out for that probably tomorrow as well after watching it. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.